Chicago? Welcome to this episode of Nobody Asked Us with Des and Kara, presented by Brooks Running. Let's go! How's that?
That was so good.
Thank
Did you guys love that?
Thank you.
Do you see our chonky boys? Who's tried the Glycerin Max?
Nice.
Who loves it? That's all we care about.
I think there's, I don't know if it's today or maybe this weekend, but I think there's trial pairs that you can like test out, give them a run. You should do that. It's a crazy experience. We were just talking about how to utilize them in the best ways and like fitting them into training. What day is it good for?
Okay, this is kind of a joke. Okay, if you listen to the pod, you know we got called elitist. So we were back there discussing what the best use of this shoe is, and we were like, oh, doubles.
Right. this is for
and
your
then we
second
were like,
one.
oh wow, no, that won't go over well. So like when you're tired and you have to run and you're tired, that's when it's a great shoe.
Right. We're leaning into this. We're like, okay, know your strengths, know what you are, know who you are. We're gonna lean into a little bit, but I do think we also want to connect the dots, because the reality is we joke about it, but there's dots to connect, right? Yeah, we say our double day, we say, oh yeah, like let's make that, what are we really trying to attack here? Fatigue in the legs, it's the tired day, and that we have, and I think you
guys
have.
all have that,
so
right?
Maybe we're not elitists, I don't know.
Maybe we're all kind of the same.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, it's true.
How was travel in, Kara?
Okay, I really...
She has a story.
I'm just thinking how I hate airports.
Yeah.
People are so rude. It's like wild, right? Like it's the worst of humanity. Like, oh, I didn't see you there, just cut right in front of you. I'm just, crop dusting you, whatever. Like, there's just so much going on, and it's so bizarre. It's like, I've been living in this little world. I haven't been traveling. I canceled all my travel after Colt got sick. I've been living in this world where like people say hi to you when you see them in the street. Like everyone's friendly. Oh, go ahead at the stop sign. And then in the airport today, it was just like, bing! Yeah. People cutting me off. I flew from Denver. Did anyone fly from Denver? The train situation is ridiculous, right? You're standing there, you're waiting in line. Finally, it opens up, and 100 people just go in front of you. And that's how the day started. So I'm not a huge fan of travel. But I got here.
You're here.
How was your travel?
But wait, how long was the drive in? Go on.
So then I get in an Uber. And I'm like, I'll see you guys. Oh, no, it was over an hour and a half to get here. But my Uber driver was so nice, and he kept apologizing, and I was like, dude, you're not doing anything wrong, you're just driving. So
You can only do what you can do.
yeah, I'm definitely a small town gal.
Well, and then you got in and you were like, I need to clean up, whatever. And you had I think you had a Reese's pumpkin, and then we gave her a glass of wine. Yeah. So I feel like she's fine. She's gonna be fine.
Everything's fine now.
It's
Everything's great now.
So if we get a second glass of wine in her, this could take a totally different
I don't think we'll do that till
direction.
later. Yeah, we don't need fresh.
We're gonna give her food first.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Okay.
How is it being here this year as a fan and spectator instead of, going after an American record?
Yeah, it's really nice to not be nervous right now. So kudos to all the people who are a little bit nervous, excited. They're feeling really fit. I need the extra month to get ready for my marathon. Like, I've got some work to do yet. Like, this is going to be...
I don't know. You crushed a workout yesterday, right?
Grind. No, I did a long workout yesterday. I did 2x6. It's trending the right direction. Here's the thing that I'm really worried about. I'm worried it's going to go pretty well. And then I'm going to be like, why did I spend all that time on those other marathons training at 100% when I could do 75% and still be at 80?
See, this
That's
is why
elitist.
You're called elitist. This
yes.
is the stuff you can
but here's the thing. That's what I'm worried about. The reality is, I'm going to go, and I'm probably going to hit mile 2, shit the bed, and be like, yeah, no, this is what everyone goes through.
Has Des ever shit the bed? No.
That's weirdly, I don't think we can ask.
I actually don't know, but
can't confirm I have
in
not.
the marathon sense, she always comes through. You can always, I'm just gonna you're always gonna be there at 2:27.
We're gonna find out in New York.
It's like you could do it all day long. And don't let me down, no pressure.
I will do my best. So the workout went well, and then, yeah, I'm feeling a little beat up today, so I wore my slow recovery shoes.
Yeah. I rocked them too.
Nice.
We're doing
What else? What else is there to catch up on? Do you want? I feel like
not much.
there was a few stories that we wanted to get into, and we're like, save it for the pod, and then we forget. But it's okay.
Well, we do have a friendly wager going.
Do you want to talk about that right now? Let's get right into it.
I don't know. Do you guys want to hear about it?
All right. Well, let's preface it. Obviously, Chicago Marathon, big race coming up. Everyone's excited. Everyone's fit. The weather's looking great, I think.
Yeah, it looked like it's going to be windy, but now it's died down, right? It's looking good. Who's running? Wow, you guys are out on a Friday night before your big marathon?
How many first-timers?
Nice.
Yeah. So we're excited, and I think that the American fields this year are really where we've focused in on, because they're just so deep and like everyone looks so primed to run well. So we've been eyeing those up, and we'll get into them a little bit more in depth, but that's where the wager comes in. We do have, we talk about CB a lot on the show. Kara's a good friend. She puts up with me, which is nice.
She's your friend too.
And she's created this great...
like a grid, a betting grid.
Yeah, a betting grid, and we have to like fill it out, and then we put some good wagers on the line.
Do you guys want to know what Des has to do if I win?
She's not going to win, so go ahead.
So the next time we do a live pod like this, Deslin is wearing a crop top.
I really thought it was going to be the merch. Is anybody wearing the Nobody Asked Me merch? I see a few. Anybody got the crop? Yeah, we got a couple crops.
But that crop's not long enough.
She's like, I need to crop it more.
No. I'm going to cut that off.
Yeah, I'm glad that the timing's good, because I'm going to have to throw in a core routine. And some posture stuff's going to have to happen for sure.
It's going to be great. You're on the burpee challenge. It's going to be great.
Yeah, well, that's not doing much for my abs, but my arms are looking amazing. Like, I'm like 20 days in.
You're looking amazing.
Yeah. Well, Carrie, yours is not as exciting. There's some that is, but we're not going to talk about that because I feel like you got to lose first, and then we can announce, which when you do, we'll announce. But for my portion, you have to run your next 5K in an Arizona State singlet, you know, which is, I think, go Devils. It's going to look great on you.
I'm fine with
Devils.
it.
Woo.
It's just a costume.
That's what we were going to talk about is Halloween.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
She's going backwards.
We're going to back it up. Who's into Halloween? Okay. I love you guys.
I love that for you.
Who is so over Halloween?
Who was never into it to begin with?
You were when you were a kid?
No, I just strange holiday.
What's the best costume you ever had?
You know, I feel like one time I went as the Swinging Friar, which I think is dope. San Diego fans, do you even know what that is?
No.
San Diego Padres fans, go Padres! Swinging Friar. Come on, they're like, you can't have the bat at school, and I was like, but I'm the Friar.
That's good. That fits you.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, one time my mom made me a costume to be a tree, but everyone thought it was a dragon, and it was a total letdown. So I had like a green hoodie with like felt leaves she had cut in a brown skirt, and everyone was like, "You look like a weird dragon." So it was an epic fail.
That's what's so hard about Halloween. Is you're like, it doesn't quite connect.
Plus, I grew up in Minnesota, so you have this super cute costume. Like one year, I was a Cabbage Patch Kid. For those of you who are over 40, and yeah, right. Like they were so cool. I had like those scary masks that now we would consider very, very scary and horror movie-ish. But then you just put on your snowsuit, so nobody knows what you are anyway.
You were saying that you saw a costume that you were like, I really want that, and this is why we've gone back.
Such a letdown.
Like, please tell me what it is.
Okay, again, this is gonna be such a letdown. I'm not a costume person. My husband is. He is like Deadpool tight outfit, like ready to rock, and I'm like, I'm a tired mom. Like I'm just not that into it. But my friend sent me a costume last night. And this build-up is way over the top for what this is.
I'm ready for this.
It's Samantha from the American Girls. They now have adult sizes. I mean, hello. I was like, I could maybe get into this.
What? Samantha from what?
You're such a Molly. Okay. This is really taking a train track. Like, this is going somewhere I never expected, but American Girl dolls are like a thing.
Okay.
For a lot of girls.
Okay. I was a swinging friar.
Obviously.
Dismissed. Sorry.
You know, it didn't quite come your way, but I loved Samantha. I had all of her stuff. I gave her to my niece a few years ago, which I honestly regretted the minute she took her home.
No.
But now they always had kid costumes.
Oh.
But this year they came out with adult costumes.
Okay, that's cool.
So,
I'm not poo-pooing that at all.
No,
I
it's
thought
actually
that
super
lived up
expensive.
to the hype for sure.
It really did not. Let's move on.
Let's get Kara the costume and then we'll take a photo and rate that, how that worked out.
Yeah.
All right, well, going back to ratings and rankings and scores and wagers, let's get into this this grid.
Chicago. Okay, so we're really American focused this year. I think partially too because we're seeing people race for the first time since the trials. Mm-hmm. People who didn't make the Olympic team have really recouped, come back together. A few people around Boston, but a lot of people, you know, not making the Olympic team is, as we both know, it's really fun. It's like very devastating, and you have to kind of regroup. We're elitists, so we don't understand pain, but you know we do.
Right there.
Yeah, it's never gonna get old. But so I think it's interesting to see people who have had to like get over the loss of not making the Olympic team. They had to watch the Olympics on TV. They've been like plotting their return. And so we see a lot of big American names doing that, which makes, for me, the American races really exciting.
This will be, I think, it tends to be one of the fastest times of the 4-year block because there's nothing to lose. Yep. And everyone who missed that team has like a chip on their shoulder and they're like, I'm gonna prove that I belong, I'm gonna prove that like I'm in the conversation for the next games. And I think it's interesting because we've talked about this with like Josh Kerr and how hard he went in for that gold medal. And it's like, can he sustain it from the World Championships to the games? Can he do it again? Can he do it better? And I think that this spot is so far out that the people who really rock it, you're almost like, oh, too much too soon.
Yeah.
But some of them knock it out of the park and then get even better. So it's just it's a fun because there's not a lot of, like there's no reason to hold back.
No.
There's nothing really on the line.
No. So I think on the men's side, you know, 4th and 5th at the Olympic trials with CJ Albertson and Zach Panning, who are both Brooks athletes. They're both racing. Yeah. So part of our wager is who finishes first of those two.
Do you want to give her answers?
I don't know.
Think we should.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything.
I mean, we can talk about their strategies and why it's such a difficult pick.
I think we were talking about this. I think it's such a tough pick because Zach Panning is a guy who isn't afraid to be a little quick in the beginning. Isn't afraid to see his watch and be like, oh, I'm 6 seconds up, oh, I'm 10 seconds up. That's okay, I'm here. Where I feel, and this is just my own opinion, and where I feel like he's not afraid to go and get in there, where I feel like CJ Albertson kind of sits back, he's playing chess a little bit, but then in the last 5 miles, he's like, oh my God, I feel amazing. And he's just running everybody down. So they kind of race differently, but they kind of end up at the same place. And so it's really tough to pick who's gonna be the better of the two. I feel like you have more intel because you trained in the same system that Zach Panning trained in for many, many years, and you heard about some of his workouts. And you think he's ready to run really, really fast.
I think he's ready to run a PR. I think he's ready to run a big PR. It's just how much does he try to knock off of his PR? You know, like how big of a bite does he try to take out there? And that's the difference. Like I think CJ has been very clear, if Zach is doing something that's over my head, I'm way more comfortable running alone. And then if Zach is taking, as you say, gotten a little bit too far out over the skis,
over the skis,
then CJ is going to be charging and looking to, you know, take advantage of that mistake. So Zach's fitness, it just depends on what he thinks it is and how hard he swings.
Honestly, it reminds me a lot of like Shalane Flanagan versus Des Linden. Like seriously, just totally different racing strategies, but you guys always ended up like really close together at the end.
I think the thing that will be an advantage for Zach is that they should have pacers, and hopefully they're, you know, out in front doing a good job and just locking in. So he doesn't have that sort of like, oh, I can be a few seconds quick here. Oh, I can be like, they're just doing their job. He doesn't have to think about it. But then that goes back to, is the original pace in his wheelhouse or not? Like, is he just swinging too hard? Or is it something he's fit enough for?
Yeah.
So I don't know what that number is going to be.
It'll be exciting.
I think that it'll come down to the last 2 to 3 miles, and it'll be a lot like the trials, where it's like, I don't know, it could go either way.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give my pick. Maybe we'll do like a recap.
Maybe. If I win.
But yeah, think about that. Like, think about that. Who are you picking for that one? Okay, women's American record. Does it go down or not?
Yeah, that's one of our things. I don't know that I want to share what I said. But you guys think about that.
Let's talk about why. Well, I mean, I think we both agree. Although we're betting against each other, I think it's going to be difficult to go down. But I agree. But I think that the right people are in the race.
Yes,
right.
I agree.
Like, if it's going to happen, this is a great group to have a shot at it.
And I think one of the things is we've seen women go after American records and set them. Obviously, D'Amato said it and Sisson said it here with a pacer locked in, but we were lacking the competition part. Where this year, I feel like you have D'Amato, you have Emma Bates, you have Betsy, right? So you have multiple women that can run around 220. That makes it very different. All of a sudden now we have, maybe we're chasing this super fast sub 220 time, but we also have competition,
right?
Which I do think makes it more likely to occur, but also I think it's a different mentality when you're chasing a fast time when you also are worried about competition. Now you have two things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, what do you want? Do you want to
important?
protect your position and make sure you're the top American, or do you want that time? And you have to kind of be at peace with whatever you decide before the gun goes off.
What would you pick? What's more important to you?
Top American always, baby.
Top American? Okay.
Yeah, because the record's going to get broken again. I mean, listen, this is talking from someone who didn't have an American record, so who do I care? I like the bragging rights. I like the ability to say, hey, I showed up and no one can beat me. It doesn't matter where it is. I always am on top. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
What about you?
No argument with that. Well, I was top American all the time.
So boring.
So, I don't know. I think you get so many chances at top American, and you can race competitively like every time you line up, and unless it was like podium or something like that, I don't think that would be enough for me. I would want to just swing and just be like, how fast can I go?
I agree. I'm thinking like you're top American on the podium. Like you're on the podium.
Oh, you get both things?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming if you're trying to run sub 220,
yeah,
you better.
That's deep, man.
It is deep, and the game's changed.
Yeah.
But I think there's many American women that are capable of being on that podium.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I would take podium over American record.
I mean, that's fine. You can be a record holder. I'm gonna be first.
Can't. That's the thing is I can't be. All right, that's a toughie. Okay. Well, I think it's definitely under watch. It's something to keep an eye on. Get your TCS Bank of America Chicago Marathon app. There's all the sponsors in there. Download it. Track all your people.
That's how you track all your people. If you want, I just see in the background, I see CJ Albertson. I'm like horrified we're talking about him. But if you want to follow the him versus panning rivalry, you can follow it on the app.
Maybe we can get some insider information.
Yeah. Should you come up here real quick? Come up here real quick.
Yeah. He's like, I hate you.
Okay, if you guys don't know, this is CJ Albertson, fourth at the Olympic Marathon Trials. We definitely didn't know he was going to be here.
Good to see you. Good. Have a seat.
I was like, that's CJ. We were just talking about it, so that's awkward.
When did you get here?
Maybe 10 minutes ago. I got lost a couple times.
Oh, good.
I was telling Claire over there that today's my birthday since I turned 30.
Well, we have to sing happy birthday. right?
Okay.
Like, we're gonna hold our mics out.
Okay, ready?
So everyone
Just real
can
quick,
see.
real quick.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear CJ. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
Stay right there.
I was just saying, since I was a year older, I think my brain is starting to go, because I got lost like 3 times coming here. I normally never get lost, and then this morning I was standing next to the toaster for like 5 minutes wondering about my bagel when it heated, and it turned out I just couldn't work the toaster. I didn't push the thing down, and I had to come have someone help me figure
I
out
think that might be taper brain. Got a
Wait
little
till you
bit
get
on
to
your mind.
40s. Just wait, CJ. Just wait.
How did the build go? How you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. You never like to say that you're super fit, but it went good. Yeah.
You know what? I remember I bumped into you at a sandwich shop in Orlando. Do you remember this?
I do, yeah.
And you were like, yeah, it's gone well. I feel good, And then you got 4th. And you were...
I was fit.
You were 5th? Oh, that's right. Who cares? You got 5th. And you were coming in, could you see 3rd when you were coming down the home stretch? When you were coming in down the road? You could.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you take that, I remember seeing this video of you afterwards, and you were like, man, like it was almost like you were like, it was right there. I feel like you need to believe in yourself more. I'm serious. This is so awkward. This is a conversation you should be having in private. But when you look back at that and you think about how your training's gone, I know that you like to be smart and run your own race, but do you think you would be a little bit more aggressive on Sunday?
I mean, it depends what aggressive is. I don't know if I'm afraid to be aggressive, though.
I think it's kind of funny. We were talking about this before the show, and we all think of CJ in Boston that first year. Where it's like he's out front, he's pushing the pace, he does not care what the group's doing, and then you just rally when you get to those late miles. Like, yeah, it kind of fell apart on you, but you still find something more. So I think that you're probably in this phase of your career where you've done aggressive, you've taken risks, but you've also run really smart. Like you have all these tools now, and I think it just seems like the right time where you're gonna pick all the right pieces and paint a fucking masterpiece. So no pressure, but it feels like you're ready.
I feel like we're so putting you on the spot, but we do have a wager on this, so if you could just let us know, how did those last few big sessions go?
They're on Strava, so
They were good.
They were good. They were good. Oh, that's a good question. You share everything, right?
Yeah.
So there's athletes that are really secretive because they don't want to give away the fitness that they're in. You're just like, I am who I am. Where does that confidence come from? Or where is that line of thinking? You don't hide things. You are who you are. You're going to show up the way you're going to show up. Have you always been like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just had Strava since before I was running.
Since before he was famous?
Yeah. So I just stuck, just kept it. I didn't feel like I needed to, I didn't really think people cared that much for me to go back and hide it. Because I don't think anyone's looking at my training or other professionals and be like, oh, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and, copy his training. But if they do, that's fine. But, yeah.
There's articles written about your workouts. People love your workouts.
I think my workouts are normal, but I think that the people that do the workouts similar that I do maybe just don't have Strava. In my mind, well, no, I was just looking at an athlete that's going to be racing here, John Corrier, but he has Strava actually, and his runs are at on dirt roads at 7,200 to 7,500 feet of altitude. So when you make those kinds of adjustments, his runs are a little bit more impressive, but no one really sees those. And then there's probably 100 Japanese guys that are doing the long runs that I'm doing. So you just don't see it, but in my mind, everyone else is doing it.
Well, CJ, we're super excited for you. We're not going to tell you where we put our bets and the times we placed. We'll let you know afterwards. We appreciate you taking...
I'll only talk to whoever won the bet.
Yeah. We'll talk soon, buddy. We'll talk soon. No, but we appreciate you taking the time. I don't want to make you do an extra appearance tonight. You're working hard all weekend long. You did the press conference early today. Thank you for being here. And we'll probably have to do a recap show, so we'll have to get you on the pod for a full session. But get off your feet,
Let's
get out of
hear
here.
it for CJ Albertson.
Best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Look at that. Thank you. I mean, we're just lucking out tonight. Like,
I
this
know.
pod is just coming together. Okay, so I did tell you backstage I had something I wanted to talk to you about. That's awkward.
Okay.
Was anybody here in Chicago last year when Des and I did a live pod? Okay, wow. You guys are hardcore fans. Thank you so much.
A lot of new people.
A year ago, we were still kind of getting to know each other. And that was my first race on the Des hype train. Like I got interviewed by Brooks about you and stuff. And I got to go out there and cheer for you and see her break the American Masters record. And it's crazy. I feel like we've just grown as our pod. Obviously, we've gotten closer, but so much has changed in a year. Could you imagine a year ago that we'd still be doing this and it would grow the way it's grown?
No, not at all. It's pretty crazy. As you were saying that, I just think it's so funny because it's like, well, yeah, like now we know each other, but really backstage you just called me sensitive, and I was just like, you don't know me at all.
She did not like it. She did not like it.
So I don't know. Maybe this could be the end. No, it's been super fun, and I think that our passion for the sport and the athletes we get to talk about and all of that's pretty obvious. So it's easy to chat about running, but it's a lot more fun when it's with someone who you're compatible with. So it's great.
we ended up calling the Olympic marathon together.
That was awesome.
It's been an awesome year. That was my cheesy thing that I just wanted to ask you about.
I like it. I'll allow it.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to go into more of this race? Do you feel like we've broadly touched on enough? Do you want to I think a big thing we wanted to do tonight was leave it open to questions.
Yeah,
like,
we want to
you guys want to know.
Hear.
Do you think that elites like us could have answers for questions like yours? Could we connect? Can we connect some dots? Or no? Maybe not. What do you think? Anything else?
I think that's pretty good. I mean, we always can geek out on the races more, but I think we just had CJ Albertson on. I think we're on the high.
We
should just walk out.
We've peaked.
We peaked.
All right, so let's see if we can pass the mic around. If you guys, this is the rule. If you want to ask a question, you have to use the mic, because if you don't, everyone goes in the comments and they're like, your podcast audio
they shred
sucks.
us.
So that's the rule. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand. Chris back there, give Chris a little hand. Applause. Chris will bring you the microphone. Feel free to hug him. He loves that.
He loves touching.
Okay, I have a question about you saving the 10K, and I'm curious if that is exclusive to the track or if switching it to the road would be helpful. And when is the Nobody Asked Us 10K circuit starting for elites and normal people?
Well, in a dream scenario, we would be starting this next year, but we'll be talking about it more lately, I'm sure. I think saving the 10K for us originally started as a brainstorming for the Olympics and for World Championships, because it's an event that's been on the chopping block, but I think it's an event that doesn't get run enough in general, so I feel like we're gonna have a road 10K too, right? I mean, that would be awesome.
Whatever it takes. I mean, I think if folks want to go out and share the road and experience that, and then you fill a track, and then you watch a few people run on the track, and it could be 10K/10,000 meters. There's a difference.
There is a difference, yes.
Difference.
That's what the elites will tell you. But that's a great idea. No, in a dream world, we start it next year because there's World Champs next year. But of course, anytime we start it would be good. talked about this on the pod. Love this event so much. Love what it can do for the sport. Obviously, I think it really got to shine at the Olympics this year with Grant Fisher winning a medal for the United States, and we would like to be a part of helping that event survive.
How many people would race if there were track races available for you? Like, you guys, we like the road, or like, who wants to get on the track and run a race? Like, who would do that? And don't,
if
like,
we had
mean it. Like, raise your hand like you mean it.
And there was a road option or a track option, which one would you vote for? Track option first. Okay, road option second. That's fine. That's fine. We can do both.
I just think
that was some good research.
Doing
Thanks,
some
guys.
polling. Yeah, that's good. Okay, put that in my book.
Yeah, write it down. Write it down.
Great question.
I heard that Centroids is making his marathon debut as a pacer, and I was curious if he's on your gambling grid, or if not, could you just talk about your thoughts on where he might place versus the American women?
Well, he's a pacer for Keira D'Amato, so I don't think he's going to place super high in the men's race. But I think he could be very well in the women's competition.
I am fascinated to see how he does, because, I mean, he's obviously not going for his best marathon. It's just like, hey, I'm going to try and pace this woman. And, you know, I think he's probably got a little bit, maybe he has a little bit more left in his legs, but also, like, how many people were surprised by Ingebrigtsen's half?
I was, actually.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I kind of was too, but I was also like, oh yeah, this is way out of his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So
I think he wouldn't be doing it if he hasn't like done the workouts and feels like he's ready to be there. I don't think he would have offered. I think they have a relationship that goes way back, and so I think it's a cool story. And I think when the going gets tough, it's nice to have someone there that you've run a lot with, whether it's male or female, right? Like someone that you know well, that you've been through a lot with. So.
Who's going to be coaching who more at that 22-mile point? Like, yo, you got to stay in your pace.
We should text Keira later and be like, dude, if he starts to drop, you just say goodbye. Don't
let him go.
Don't worry about him. Just leave him behind. No, I think it's a fun storyline.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I ask you guys a question about your books? It's more for Keira than Des, honestly. So you both wrote these like really personal, revealing stories. I'm curious if you feel better having put that out in the world, or if the process of going through it and reliving some of the painful memories made you feel like, ugh, I don't know if it was worth it.
Oh, it was definitely worth it. I'm laughing a little bit because my trainer is like behind you, and so he had to live with me while I was going through that. No, it was so worth it. And I think rewriting it and reliving it was really hard. I think I've been open that it put me back in therapy, and it made me deal with stuff that I thought I had handled fine that I hadn't. But I am seriously a different person than I was 2 years ago. And I don't feel like I'm a different person. I feel like I'm myself again. You know?
Thank you for writing it. It was beautiful.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank
you.
Hi guys. First of all, thank you for everything that you do. I'm an international listener, and your message gets probably much further than I think you appreciate. In terms of like during the run, a lot of us here are doing the race on Sunday. When things get hard for you guys when you're running, what are the kind of things that you think about to really push through? You know, we see a lot of elite athletes missing water stops and missing their drinks, and I think to the everyday athlete that would be the end of the world. But people still manage to do these wonderful performances. Where do you go? How do you get through those moments to still get the best?
I think you should start since you still race.
I mean, I think it's just reminding yourself that the tough moments are really what you signed up for. Like, it's easy when it's easy, right? Like when you're having that day and everything's clicking, you're like, oh, I can do this forever. But we train so hard, we put in all the work, we do the workouts, we get up early, we sacrifice, yada, 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 and on, because we know that there's going to be that tough moment, and you want to see what you're able to do in those moments. For me, like I get excited for them because it's a chance to answer questions about myself, and I think about that a lot. But also, there's little things too where it's like, you know, I was out doing 2x6 yesterday in the last like 2K. I've been writing workouts for a guy, and a lot of it's been 2K repeats, and I was like, dude, Blake doesn't even have to do this. Like, he's out there doing these repeats, he cares so much, and I was like thinking about people, you know, who just are in it for the love, and I was like, this 2K, this next 2K is for Blake, because like he's inspiring me to push through as well when it gets hard. And there's no one out watching my workouts, like I totally just slow down, it's fine, doesn't matter. But it was like, I'm gonna give those 2K to Blake. And then, you know, you think about the people invested, your coach, your spouse, your kids, whatever it is, like there's all these people that are with you in the journey. And I mean, when it's really hard, I think about them.
I think some of that too comes in the preparation. We all have workouts that are awful, that don't go how we hoped, that we kind of just suffer through, but we got through it. And so those moments matter in the race too. Like, I have been here before. I know I can get through this. This isn't what I necessarily imagined, but I know that I can get through it. And then just reminding yourself, why are you doing this in the first place? You know, you're out here because you wanted to do it. I remember, like, marathons, you wake up so early, and I'd be like, why am I doing this? You know, my alarm goes off at 4 o'clock, but then it's like, I know why. I want to be here. I want to see what I can get out of myself. So I think another thing, too, is just to remember that those moments are going to come and not to be afraid of them. They're just your mind trying to trick you and trying to make you forget all the preparation that you did to be there. You did the preparation to be there, you wouldn't be out there, right? So it's just your mind trying to trick you real quick, and you just have to remember, like, if that is going to come, and you are going to have those points where you're like, this isn't going the way I wanted, or I don't feel the way I was expecting, and that's to be expected, and you just have to say, I just have to survive another half mile, another mile, and then it usually turns around.
Hi, I was telling my husband, he's like, what if they do a Q&A? And I said, I will panic, because I don't know what to say, I'm too nervous. So I'm at the point in my running journey and in this marathon cycle where, you know, I've had sort of ups and downs, some rolling hills, and I am trying to figure out how to judge your sort of goal pace based on, you know, you have your comfort level, what you know you can achieve, and then you have those good workouts and you see those paces that you're capable of achieving, and it's that decision of, you know, do I just go for it on race day and, you know, potentially blow up at, you know, whatever mile, but know that I put it all out there, as opposed to, you know, playing it safe and hitting the pieces that, you know, are comfortable and I know that I'll be able to get. So, you know, how do you sort of trust yourself and trust your body enough to push the pace and, you know, be okay with that sort of, you know, I'll call it failure, but we all know that's not what it is. But, you know, I think mentally, you know, that's the struggle I have. It's like, you're comfortable and you know that you check the box of your marathon, but could I have done more? And sort of what do you live with? Could I have done more, or you sort of blow up at the end?
I think you have to be strategic about it, right? Like, there's being realistic, there's being crazy and irresponsible, and there's like a lot in between. But I think the rule of thumb that we use is you run the first 20 with your head and the last 10K with your heart, right? So be strategic, be smart, be within yourself, take care of your fueling, all of those things early. If you get to 20 and you're like, feel like $1 million, swing for the fences, right? Because that's where the race starts, and that's where you can manage it, right? And then if you get to the end and you're like, man, I probably left too much time in that first 20, the next marathon, look at that last 10K and what you did, and like that's the new goal. Like, you have the thing that sets you up for the next one. So like, you're not gonna surprise yourself and do something that you've never touched in work before. So, you know, just be strategic about it and then build. Like, we were talking about making big jumps earlier this evening, is like, yeah, but sometimes you need to see the result in between before you can make that big jump, just like mentally to wrap your mind around it. Whether that's totally true or not, I mean, I think there's depends on your ability and how long you've been at it and so on and so forth. But I think you could be really strategic and smart through 20 and then go wild that last 6 miles. Just see what you can do.
Yeah, I agree. I think you ask your body to do what you've prepared it to do. So sometimes you haven't prepared enough for what your heart wants, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know? I do think there's times where you can take a risk, but you have to know, I'm totally fine with blowing up at 16 and stepping off the course, and you have to be totally fine with that. But in general, I think just what Des was saying, you can't ask your body to do something you haven't prepared it to do. So unless the workouts have consistently been there, I would go with a more conservative approach and see how you feel at 20.
This is for the elitists. Have you guys ever hit the wall? And if you have, has it been more mental or more physical?
We don't have a wall.
What's that?
I love your sweatshirt. Good, Kara.
Yes, I hit the wall. It took me a long, as the elitist that I am, it took me a long time in my career before it happened. But when I went back to New York the second time, I hit the wall at mile 18 of the New York City Marathon in 2014. Des was in the race as well, way ahead of me at that point. And it was 100% physical. I was in over my skis. We trained for a pace. We trained for 2:28. And the race was faster than that, and it was super windy, and I had to make that split decision of, do I run by myself with crazy winds on me? Remember that year?
Yeah, my hat
the
flew
whole
off.
way, or yeah, her hat fell off. Or do I just go for it and run with them, at least get some windbreak? And I made that decision, and it suffered horribly. My coach actually likes to tell this story because I was suffering so bad that I remembered he was going to be in Central Park, and I was like looking for him because I knew he would tell me, you can just step off. And I'm running, and I finished, and then he comes and finds me, and I go, you weren't there. I was crying. I was like, you weren't there for me. And he goes, I looked straight at you, and I told you to pull your pants up and just finish, you know? And so it for sure, for me, was physical.
Yeah, my second marathon was the Olympic trials in 2008, and I think my debut was 2:44. The training was amazing. I thought I was in 2:31 shape. It, like, on paper, it made a lot of sense, but didn't really have experience. And there was a lot of nerves with the trials because there's a lot on the line. So early on in the race, like every time I would go to drink my bottles, I would eject what was in the bottles and it would just come right back out. So it's like, I'm gonna stop drinking these. Like, I can't take any fuel. So at mile 22, I believe, I was 8 seconds out of third place. I was in fourth. Could see the back of Blake Russell, exactly where she was. And I was like, I'm going to make this team. Like, this is my second marathon. I'm ready to go. I'm going to make the Olympic team in my second time out. Let's get it done. And then I hit the wall, and that was the longest 20 miles to the finish, feels like. But yeah, like, that was just a fueling. It was physical. It was fueling. I felt like I hadn't eaten for, 3 days, and I was trying to run. Like, very, very similar, where you're like, I don't remember a lot of it, but made it to the finish line and decided I would never feel that way again. I was going to fix it. I was going to master the marathon, and I was going to be the best at the last 6 miles, and no question about it. And then I spent years figuring that out.
Hi, my name is Monica Queen. I just want to say I used to run in college, and so I'm one of those who I was never, like, I walked onto the team, and listening to your pod, I'm always like, oh, God doesn't care. We were in school around the same time, so I feel like you guys are my teammates, and I'm just,
Let's go.
This is more a question for Kara. I've been struggling with some medical history things the last few years, and so when...
It's okay.
When the mind and the heart want to run, but your body doesn't let you, what do you tell yourself so that you can keep going?
First of all, I'm really sorry because I can feel it. I think we all can feel it, but I really, really feel this. And I joke a lot about how I trip and how I can't run anymore, but it's awful. It's terrible. Yeah, it's pretty devastating. And it's so hard, but I just refuse to quit on my body, right? I feel like the minute I say I can't do it anymore, then it will be gone forever. So I just keep going out and having my awkward runs and and see the therapist and see my trainer and just keep fighting for something because I just have to keep the hope alive. Because I know the minute that I say it's just done, then I can never get it back. And so what I would say to you is the same thing, like, just keep fighting, refuse to quit. It is so, I'm gonna swear, it is so shitty. It's just like a cruel, like, how do I feel good about myself? I run. How do I deal with my mental stress? I run. How do I diffuse when I want to kill my husband? I run. Right? And then you can't do any of that, and you're just like, really? And it's so hard, but my heart goes out to you, and I saw you on Instagram today, by the way. You were like, I'll see you tonight. Was that you? Yeah. And so, yes, I'll reach out to you, but just keep the hope alive, because I think when you let that hope go, that's when it's truly over. So don't give up. Don't give up.
Are there, I guess, obviously a lot of these scenarios are very different, but like what in terms of like assists do you use? Like are there tools, and I'm not trying to plug lever, but like immediately it was there's
you tried a
tools
lever?
out there, right? Like what are some things that you found helpful?
I mean, definitely for me, the lever has been a saver. So I trip a lot, I catch my left foot a lot, and then it causes other compensatory things. Like I look like a little ogre out there, like running around. And so that is something that's helped me a lot. I think getting in the gym, maintaining a workout pattern, whether it's running or not, is super important for me, because it just keeps me in that mindset of like, no, I still need to do my thing today. I need to get my fresh air. I need to move my body, like even if it's not running. But yes, I mean, I know that the lever supported the pod, but I really would encourage you to try that. I don't know if you already have, but it's worth a shot because it just stabilizes you. Like I was just telling Des earlier, I can get in there and it stabilizes me enough and gives me enough awareness that it's like, I know I'm not gonna fall, and then so much of my own personal stress goes away when I know I'm not gonna fall.
I think I guess whatever your situation is, also don't be afraid to look for assists. Like don't be afraid to ask for help.
And
don't
it doesn't
feel like
have to look a certain way, right? I mean, that was hard for me. Like, I have friends that will go up and run on the Continental Divide, and I used to go do that with them. I can't do that anymore. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna watch, Netflix on my treadmill and run in the lever, and then I'm like, is that real running? And like, don't talk. That is real running.
It's real, right?
It's real running.
It counts, right?
No matter what it is and how it is, it's still real. Yeah, Netflix.
Should we do one more question in the top 5?
Yeah.
Okay. One more question, and then we're gonna do a top 5.
All right, so I'll bring it back to your opinions of things that might make you mad.
Bring it home.
So we've had lots of conversations about like risk and reward and playing it safe versus trying to catch that next big thing. And so my question is related to your last episode. You talked about the Athlos event, where it was a big risk, it was a big swing. They missed some things. There's some good things. You can see where it goes later. And I was wondering how you feel about USA Track and Field Outdoor Championships going back to Hayward.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so hard to get to. It's so restricted. It goes back to it's just the elitists. And I was wondering how you think about.
I love that we're talking about elitists and it's not us for once. I think, look, Eugene puts on a hell of a meet. They organize it. Their volunteers are world class. I would put them up with anyone in the world. The community is awesome. The facility is awesome. There is no other facility like that around. I worry, I think we've talked about this, that if we only go to this really remote place that's hard to get to, where hotels are expensive and it's hard to rent cars and the tickets are expensive, we're gonna kill our fan base. And that's what I think Athos did really well. Let's go to the other coast, let's get some people, let's pack the stands, let's have some fun. I've been thinking about that so much more too, by the way, since we talked on the pod. Give me a call. But I do think, we have talked about this. We have talked about big cities, moving it around. It's not that it can't be in Eugene. Eugene does a great job, but what if it was in Chicago and every high school kid got a free ticket? Or what if it was in New York? And I know that people will talk about the weather. It's been 100 degrees at the US Champs many times the last few years. So weather is gonna be tricky really no matter what. Yeah, I would love to see it moved around. Maybe even if it was every other year, let's ping pong it and just give other communities the chance to see professional track and field, because we're losing talent that's not being inspired because they don't get to see it. And when you can't see it, you can't dream it.
I mean, I would love to know what the bids look like. Who else is in the room putting in a bid? You know, at this point, is it just Eugene? Like, who else is asking? Who else is saying, hey, we can host this? I think Athlos was great. The stadium was 4,998. Like, got to get bigger than that. Who else can host? I'm not saying it shouldn't go to Eugene, but also who's interested, who can do it, where can we fill it? Like, we need more options. I agree that it needs to be moving and it needs to be shifting, but who's stepping up?
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem. We don't know what those negotiations are. I think Mount Sac could do a great job. I think Des Moines could do a good job. Des Moines has hosted in the past. The stands were empty. I could hear my grandpa cheering as I was missing the World Championships running away from me. Come on, Carol! Cracking a Mountain Dew. I was like, damn it. But I also think there's ways to innovate to get people there. Let's remove ticket price if you're under a certain age. Let's bring people in. I think there's a fan base everywhere. I just think they haven't had access to it. So when it comes, they're not as hyped on it because it's not a part of their tradition, right? Like it is a Chicago Marathon weekend or a Grandma's Marathon weekend or a Boston Marathon weekend or whatever it is. When you only get it once every 14 years, it's hard to build that, but I think there's ways we could do that.
But is it a Eugene tradition?
I mean, it is now. I mean,
yeah,
look,
I don't know. I mean, I don't have any strong opinions on it being devil's advocate.
No, and I don't think that it shouldn't go to Eugene. I just think if we really want to grow the fan base of the sport and we really want the next generation to see themselves in it, we got to get them to these races.
Well, and I think that's where Grand Slam Track and Athlos, like, not having any interest in Eugene are going to do a great job. And if they can start to build new races and start traditions and then you create fans, then maybe all of a sudden people go, oh, well, I want to bid for the US Championship. And now you're in business. So, I don't know. I mean, the fact that there's more things out there, I think, is a great sign.
Imagine if there was only one marathon major.
Right.
I mean, obviously it would be Chicago. That would be, you know, like you got to
I'm so glad you didn't say Boston.
Oh, I knew what I was doing there. I do know what city I'm in. So. Okay, I think that's a wrap on that, yeah.
I was just about to sneeze. All right, well, do you want one more question or we're just going to top 5?
Does anyone have a question they have to have answered?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a follow-up on that. Sorry.
Follow up. I'll talk it into the mic. You go.
So, obviously, Eugene, it has, like, you can bring in people there that hold 28, 30,000 like they did for the World Championships. But realistically, if you're going to bring in a bunch of these people, you don't need to have that many people. It's all about the television contract and having it be at times where people can actually watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, wouldn't that be
Is this
part
personal? I feel like it's personal. I'm totally kidding.
I work in sports, so like I have an understanding of like the TV contracts and things like that. So like, doesn't that, like you said, bring that in? You know, like, all right, now you just need to find a track that you can have enough people at.
Yes.
To make it actually viable, and it's more based on the TV times, bringing it to the larger masses who are going to watch it on TV rather than be there in person.
We should talk this into the mic so we don't get hate mail.
Yeah.
No, you're totally fine. Basically, he's saying, well, to really grow it, we need TV audience, right? We need people to be turning on the TVs and watching it. So it needs to be on a good time so people are actually watching it. It's not 1 o'clock on a Sunday or something, or whatever the time is that's bad. I actually don't know. And I agree. I do think there's something visual, though, about seeing a packed out stadium that makes it to the viewer when they turn on the TV, it seems important. You know, when you turn on the US Championships and there's no one in the backstretch, it kind of feels like, oh, that's cute. I'm going to see what else is on. Where I feel like if you turn it on and the stadium is just full and they're panning the camera, even if it's a smaller stadium, but it's full and it's loud and you can hear when people, I do feel like there's something to that brings, just as a person that works, you know, obviously I do broadcasting, I think there's something about that is important. You know, we go to the Millrose games, it's a small facility, it's packed. It's not that many people because it can't hold that many, but the atmosphere is crazy and that shows on television how full it is in there. People are right up on the track, right? So I think there is something about that visually makes people feel like it's important when they turn the TV on.
I agree with that. And I think we also have to be able to get those coveted time spots.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you get noon in Orlando, you take noon in Orlando just to bring it full circle.
Wow. Talk about controversy. Let's just jump right back in.
top 5.
Let's move on. Okay, you start. You wrote something down.
All right, let me
Little
see. Let me
cheater.
check my notes. Oh, I got the last one. Oh, I wrote it down for you. It's right there on the top.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we've talked about it on the pod before, but my husband coaches this woman, CB, Carrie Birth, and Des has become good friends with her, and she's the one that got us to do this whole betting thing. And she was mad because she didn't get a shout out in the top 5, so she went to Berlin and absolutely crushed and ran sub 3 again. So 2 sub 3s in 1 year with some health issues going on, but also working so hard. She's super high up at P&G. She was at the Olympics. She was like living her best life. She was like behind Simone Biles, behind this person. Like she was everywhere. And so for her to be able to go to Berlin and run sub 3 was awesome. So shout out to CB, sub 3 in Berlin.
I'm just going to tack onto that before we go on to the next one, but her dedication is incredible. I feel so lazy when I see her posting stuff. She's like, off the plane, gonna run, I felt bad, did it anyways, and then like she doesn't miss a thing, and it's super cool. Like she just has so much passion for the sport. So good job, CB, congrats. That was cool to watch. All right, next one. I'm gonna go with baseball, guys. We're still hanging on. We still got the Tigers. We still have the Padres. This could all change before this thing gets launched and put out into the universe. But for you guys, live, tonight's the night. Watch the Padres beat the Dodgers. It's in my top 5.
Do you like when she says this stuff? I'm like, yeah. I have no idea what she's talking about.
Swinging Friar.
I should really just at least attempt to show my love for you, but I don't. So I'm actually going to go back to a little bit sappy and just say my love for Des. And it's really grown over the last year, and I can't believe some of the things we've gotten to do together. And so I just...
You need to be more specific. That's so uncomfortable.
No, nothing naughty. It's been really fun to do these live pods, to do the Olympic broadcasts together, to do all those Olympic episodes when you were so tired in Tokyo and schlepping your way over to my hotel, and it's just been awesome. So thank you to you, and then obviously everyone here and that listens, because otherwise we wouldn't get to do it at all. So it's been awesome. Thank you guys all so much.
Yeah. All right, well, that's so hard, because if I say so, like, these shoes that are amazing, it sounds so dumb. I'm gonna go with the Sunday weather forecast. I feel like it's looking so good for you guys. You've put in the work and you're ready for this. The cool part about fall marathons is you train all summer and you're freaking grinding and it's hot and you're like, I'm never gonna hit these paces. It feels so hard. And then like just right on cue, as soon as that September 21st, 22nd date hits, it's like, there's fall. And all of a sudden everything gets easier. And now you're tapering. And on Sunday, I just feel like it's gonna line up for you guys. You're gonna have the best race ever. So cheers to the fall weather.
Fall weather. And this is one of the top 5, but just cheers to Olipop. Did you guys all try some?
Yeah, love it.
Root beer, how good is it? Amazing. So.
All right, so we're gonna round off the Olipop top 5. You can use the coupon code. Nobody asked us. Check the show notes, double check that. Great stuff, we love it. Top 5, the number 5 is going to be some special guests out here. It's under your chair, don't look yet, are gonna win one of these bags that has some fun Brooks goodies inside. I think that there's a sticky maybe under the bottom of your chair. So everyone reach under, don't bump the person in front of you. Oh, we should take a photo, this is hilarious. You gotta jump up and down, and then, yeah! There we go. Awesome. They're slowly finding it.
Come get your prize if you got one.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
There you go.
You can keep your taped up picture if you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
we missing? One more?
Cool, okay. There you
One
go.
more. Everybody feel that
They
seat.
left early.
Yeah, what the heck? Oh, yay, one more. Okay, don't leave yet.
Not
Because
yet.
we want to do the ultimate selfie. And
So
we're going to open up the airdrop so you guys can all have it if you want it. Yes.
we have to leave immediately, so we're gonna do this selfie. We're gonna try and get everyone in it. You guys have to crowd it in, and then we're gonna just try and do the airdrop so you guys can all like kind of share it and spread it and see if you're in there. And we really, really appreciate you guys being here. We wish we had like endless time and could just stay and do all the things. But we have bedtimes. This is marathon training that you guys know a lot about.
But thank you all so much for coming. It means so much to us. Thank you so much.